Hello there, everyone. It's been a while. I have been a busy boy. I don't know if you guys have been following, but yeah, I was commentating the biggest Shadows of the Galaxy tournament in the world until the Europeans in Spain overtook us. But still, pretty cool. And then I was on holiday. I've been in Morocco for the last 2 weeks. I got back yesterday. It's been pretty crazy just getting everything up and running again, back to work. So I apologize for the lack of videos. Usually I'm good at like scheduling uploads, so you don't know I'm gone, but it wasn't happening this time. I just had too much going on. And in the time that I've been gone, Twilight of the Republic spoilers have begun in earnest. We are fully in spoiler season. And I'm so excited for this set. It's difficult to convey, I think, just how excited I am. So before we get into the purpose of this video, which is going to be talking about the vast quantity of cards that have been spoiled so far, I just want to take a moment to sidebar and go, oh my god, the prequels are my shit. Hot take, guys. I'm sorry, you're not going to like it, but I think the original trilogy is fine. Episode 5 is great. Episode 4 is fine. Episode 6 is pretty bad. The sequels are fine. Kylo Ren, probably the best written character in the movies. IMO, probably. He's cool. I like him a lot. And the prequels, peak Star Wars. Everything I want from Star Wars, I find in the prequels. The goofiness, the cool lightsaber fights, the space wizards, the attempts at politics, the cool space fights. It's everything I want, right? And I just love the prequels so much. So, you know, to cap off 2024 with just a Clone Wars era set. Now, I'm a Frake fan. I've not seen the Clone Wars yet. I'm currently watching it. I'm on season 3. And the goal is to get through all of the Clone Wars before the set comes out, so at least I know what I'm talking about. And to be fair, I'm doing it in pretty good pace because a lot of the cards that have been shown are from early days in the Clone Wars, so I think they're probably ramping up, so as long as I keep pace, it'll be fine. And I'm having a whale of a time. And basically, this long-winded way of me going, I love the prequels, I love the Clone Wars. This era is my stuff. And, you know, set 1 was cool, it was fine. Set 2, fine, again, whatever. Set 3, this is the sweet spot for me. And I know that's going to be different for everyone, right? Like, if you grew up with the original... Like, the fact that I said I consider the original trilogy to be fine is probably sacrilegious to a lot of people. It is what it is. I love the prequels, and so let's just get into this. All right, I've yapped for 3 minutes here without talking about a single card. So there are 3 new mechanics in this, and I am going to be analysing these as competitively as I can. I don't think I'm going to do this for every set, but I just really want to do it for this set because I love the prequel so much, and I just want to talk about these cards. I also think the mechanics in the set are really cool. So there are 3 mechanics in the set that we know about. I suspect these are the only 3. So the first is token units. They're considering that a mechanic. And there are 2. There are battle droids. So these are created by other cards. They are 0 cost, mono black, or villainy. 1/1s that are separatist, droid, and trooper traded. So trooper, very relevant trait. We've seen that across the sets 1 and 2 in a lot of places. So that's something that we're now going to have to evaluate a lot of those troopers synergies. And then of course we've got droid and separatist, which are set 3 synergies. And then we also, as our secondary token, have clone troopers. So clone troopers are 2/2s instead. They are mono white. They're Republic, clones, and troopers. So the same sort of vibe, but they're 2/2s, which makes sense. So this is one of the major mechanics. The second mechanic is coordinate, and the third mechanic is exploit, and I will talk about those as we get through the cards. But let's just start out. I'm basically just going by leaders, pretty much. So let's get cracking. For those of you who are wondering why I'm not using the official website, it is not up to date with the official card reveals, so this is where I'm finding all of them. Okay. Obi-Wan Kenobi, my goat. This is my favourite character in the prequels. It's not even close. Yeah, I think this is a very interesting leader. So he is blue-white. Action, heal 1 damage from units, and Force Jedi Republic traded. He deploys on 6. He's a Force 7 for 6, which is fine. Sentinel, big. And on attack, heal 1 damage if you do deal 1 damage to a different unit. So this is a really interesting card. And I think it's very hard to evaluate because they haven't really printed many synergies with this style of gameplay yet. But a couple of things I want to note. Firstly, a 4/7 is good as a good stat line. It's a Sentinel. That's very valuable. That's going to help you stabilize against those aggro decks. It deploys on 6, and this is going to be, I think, a big sticking point. Deploying on 4 has shown to be very, very powerful. Deploying on 5 has shown to be sort of the minimum for competitive viability if you're operating in that early game. And then deploying on 7 and 8 is so late that you kind of get these crazy, wacky game warping effects. And 6 is just in this sort of awkward spot where they haven't really printed anything that crazy. Now, this might be different for Obi-Wan. I feel like he could have deployed on 5. Like, I don't know, make him a 3/7, deploys on 5. I basically, at the moment, I'm evaluating this card at a 6 out of 10, with potential to move up or down by like 2 points, depending on the strength of the support cards. I really think that's going to be what determines this, because, you know, I mean, this is true with like a lot of games, right? I also think like this, you know, when we figure out what 3-color package is going to fit best with this leader, that is going to help as well. And there's a lot of cards to see, but definitely I think like he doesn't knock my socks off when I first read him, like a certain leader does. But he's not bad, which is always a good start. And I think there's a lot of potential here. The ability to just heal and ping can be very, very relevant, especially if we start getting these units that, like, for example, if you remove a counter from the unit, they gain a 1/1. Or you add a counter, right? Like, you can think about, like, that sort of thing where, like, oh, now these abilities to make these minuscule changes are suddenly going to be really, really impactful. Or if we start getting these units that damage themselves to do something very powerful, and then we have a way to undo that, suddenly we can see Obi-Wan become a lot more strong. But I think we very much wait and see. I'm sticking with a 6 out of 10 for now. All right, next up, we've got Count Dooku. This is the best leader revealed so far, in my opinion. I don't even think it's close. So, his green and black action. Play a Separatist card, it gains Exploit 1. You may defeat one unit you control. If you do, that card costs 2 less. So this is Exploit. And basically the idea is you exploit your token units, which are, you know, created basically for free or for very, very cheaply. And then you get to play out much bigger units at hefty discounts. So I think this is a mechanic we're going to have to take a serious, genuine, really deep look at, because coming from a fairly deep card game background, there's a short list of things which I see and I immediately go, that's probably good. And reducing cost is absolutely one of them. You saw this when I saw when I was evaluating Han 2, and I was like, okay, well, that's definitely good. Like, it might take a while. It did take a while, but now Han 2 Blue's all over the place because, yes, cheating costs is always going to be incredibly strong. And so, seeing this here, giving any Separatist card Exploit 1 is very powerful. Now, on top of that, we look at his stats. He is a 5/9 for 7. He's bigger than Vader, which is massive. He has Overwhelm, he's Force, Separatist, and Sith traded, and on attack, the next Separatist card you play this phase gains Exploit 3. So, firstly, on the flip turn, well, okay, unfortunately you can't do it on the flip turn because you have to play it, but it would be crazy if you could give it Exploit 4. One thing to bear in mind is this is Separatist card. So this is incredibly relevant where Han was just restricted to units. This is restricted to a type, but any card. So we're talking upgrades, we're talking events, right? That's massive, huge deal. Giving something Exploit 3 can just be completely game warping. Now, again, this is going to be dependent on how easily can we make these droids, how easily can we, how good are the targets that we are giving Exploit to, right? I think these are the two big questions we have to ask, but from the card reveals so far, I think they know they probably wanted this deck to be quite strong. This is the #1 showcase I want at the moment for playability purposes, combined with how much I love the character. Obi-Wan is #1 for how much I love the character, but this is incredibly strong. I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. And I think basically this is going to live or die based on how good the Separatist cards are that we get. That's really all it comes down to. I think everything else is set up for this leader. The stat line is amazing. We have the support. This could be mono green making its first big splash, and we'll talk about mono green in a bit. But yeah, I just think this is the full package, and I'm really happy. All right, next we've got Padme. So this is our first green-white leader. So this is deploys on 5. Coordinate. So coordinate is our next keyword. So coordinate is an ability that is gained when 3 or more units are controlled. This is across space and ground. So here, when your coordinate is live, you gain the ability to use action, pay 1, tap this, search top 3 cards of your deck for a Republic card, reveal it, and draw it. So again, this is one of those cards. It says draw, so I'm always going to have to take a serious look at it. Now, How good is this? It's quite weird because this is a early game deploy leader, which, I mean, let's just have a look at the deploy here. It's a 2/7 with restore 1 and the coordinate to get the ability on attack. So it's a powerful plussing tool. But I think, generally speaking, I don't need the plussing so much in the early game as I need it in the late game to when we're both, when the simplified game state, both low on resources. If I'm able to outdraw you, then suddenly we're cooking. But, how easy is getting coordinate live going to be? I have to assume quite easy, because otherwise they wouldn't be, throwing this keyword all over the place. Or if they were, I mean, it's going to be a real dud of a set if you can't get them one of the 3 big mechanics off, right? So that's my first question. My second question is, how good are the cards I'm drawing? And again, that's going to be dependent on how good the Republic cards are. So you can see things are very, very constrained to Republic Separatist in this set. My evaluation on this, it says draw, so I can't give it less than a 6. But we need to see. We really need to see what the support around it looks like. How good are the Republic cards? Is it going to be able to stay alive? What's the game plan here? Like, what kind of deck are we going to be able to construct to really abuse the fact that we're able to go plus, like, very, very hard? So we'll need to see. But yeah, I don't think this is bad. Maybe 5. I'm going to give it a 5. Just because we haven't... I gave Obi-Wan a 6. I'll give it a 6. I don't think it's bad. All right, next we've got Maul. Oh, mama. Another showcase that is desired. So this is action. Attack with a unit gains Overwhelm. Deploys on 6. Is a 6/6 with Overwhelm, and it gives all other friendly units Overwhelm. So, this is strong. I think there's no doubt about it. How good is giving something Overwhelm depends on the type of deck we're trying to play here. Now, obviously, naturally, like, you see this and you think, oh, well, I would want to pair that with ECL. Unfortunately, you can't, because this is an action. So it's not like you just give something when it attacks. That would be really, really strong. So not having access to ECL here is a little awkward. Obviously on deploy you do, but outside of that, you need to play the units in advance. However, giving stuff Overwhelm when you're playing a more grindy control style deck is really, really powerful. And there is a Maul, which we're going to see, which synergizes with this leader incredibly well. So I think this is one where I'm going to give it a 7. Fundamentally, giving something Overwhelm is very powerful. It's a 6/6 for 6. Don't sleep on that. That's a lot of stats. That is a lot of stats. That's good. And yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here. I'm excited to see where it goes. Definitely one of the stronger leaders in the game, I think, just on a first look. Okay, then we got Ahsoka. This is one of our 2 starter deck leaders. So Ahsoka has coordinate, action, attack with the unit gains +1 for this attack. Fine, it's a pump. Nice to have late game. Makes me think this is basically going to be built as a go wide aggro deck, which makes sense. And on the deploy side, this is a 3/5, deploying on 5. Force Jedi Republic traded with coordinate, it becomes a 5/6. So a 5/5/6 is very strong. You basically just need to have 2 other units out, which I think is going to be really easy on deploy. I think this is just going to be a classic go as wide as possible, turn my card sideways, kill them real fast kind of deck. And it looks fine. I think it's got potential. Yeah, 5 out of 10. I just think with the go wide strategy, like, how good is that going to be? I think we're going to be seeing a lot of overwhelming barrage running around, and we're going to see a lot of counters to go wide because the whole mechanic of the set is token units. So my inclination is there's going to be a lot of hard countering. So I'm going to go with a 5 out of 10, but we'll see. Okay, General Grievous, our last leader so far. So he's a Separatist official. Action, give a droid unit Sentinel for this phase. So if you're just making any 1/1 chump blocker, that's pretty strong. Deploys on 6, 4/8, big stats. On attack, you may give a droid unit +1 and Sentinel for this phase. So this is a very interesting leader. So firstly, he's yellow-black. So the immediate thing you're always going to be asking is, okay, but why aren't I playing Boba Fett? And I don't really have a great reason at the moment. We are going to need to see these what these droids do. How easy is it to basically just spam a load of droids, get a load of value out of this? A 4/8 is big. It is really big, but is like, I don't know if the payoff for a deck just having a 4/8 is that good. My inclination is this is just going to be a 4 out of 10. I don't know. This is going to be very competitive. It's really not doing anything that crazy. Just giving something Sentinel, like whatever. Like Chewbacca does that, but kind of better. And that's completely unplayable. So Yeah, I'm going to go with a 4 out of 10, which makes me really sad because Grievous is one of my favourite characters and I will like to pick up the showcase for him, but I can put it on the wall at least. But there we go. So that is the leaders. We've now had 2 rare bases shown, and I think we're starting with the strongest one in my opinion. This may be the strongest base in the game. So this is Droid Manufactory. This is a 24 HP base. When you deploy a leader, create 2 battle droid tokens. Okay, so coming from my background of card games, I am seeing get 2 free things here. And I'm also seeing that the devs understand this to be so strong that by comparison to Energy Conversion Lab, they were like, this needs to be 24 HP. I just think this is insane. I think this is absolutely cracked. And obviously, you know, in isolation, is getting 2 1/1s worth losing 6 HP? Obviously not, if that's all they are. However, the fact that those 1/1s could immediately convert into playing out a 4-drop or like a 6-drop or something, right, if you've got one other thing. But basically, if this said the cost of the next card you play is reduced by 4, we'd all be going, well, this is fucking crazy. Or if this said your leader gains +2/+2, because that's the stat value we're getting, we'd again be going, well, this is fucking crazy. Now, it's different than that. It's not as good as either of those things. But either way, I just like, it's narrow, but it just seems so strong. And I just can't imagine this isn't going to be incredibly potent. I mean, just now, worth saying, I think this is one that's going to scale really heavily with, you need to be deploying by 5. I just, like, if you're deploying on 7 or 8, I'm like, that's too late, man. Like, what are you doing at that point? But if you're deploying on 4, deploying on 5, in particular if you're deploying on 4, I'll be looking at this going, okay, this is looking pretty tantalizing. Not going to lie, pretty tantalizing. So let's see. I'm very high on this. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I'm super, super duper high on this card. And I think it's really, really strong. Okay, our second of the 4 bases, we've only seen this one, we've got 2 more to be revealed, is Petranaki Arena. So this is 26 HP, 26, and each leader unit you control gains +1/+0. So I think this is also incredibly strong, right? Like, your double yellow boba now becomes a 5/7. Okay, that's hitting some thresholds, right? Like, I think, like, that alone is hitting a lot of numbers. Like, this is letting you hit breakpoints, right? Firstly, if you are in green naturally and you were already in yellow, well, now you're green-black. Now your overwhelming barrage is doing 1 extra damage on your deploy. That's big. This, in the context of a boba mirror, means my hotshot blaster is now letting me kill the opponent's leader. Also massive. Like, there's a lot of those little niche scenarios. I think Sabine Yellow is going to love this. Like, it's just going to go, oh, great, I'm doing more damage. Any aggro deck, right? Kylo, oh, I love this. My leader does extra damage. So I think this is incredibly strong. I'm giving it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8. And I get the feeling, if the other 2 bases are even comparably good to these, like, we're looking at a very powerful cycle of bases this set. But yeah, just super, super strong. Okay, 15 minutes in, let's get into some actual cards. So we're going to start off with Wartime Trade Official. This is a 2/1/3. When defeated, create a battle droid token. You probably play this where you are very, very all in on exploiting, but it's not great value. It's like just 2 cost 2/4. As an aside, the maths for, I think, where it looks like cards are being balanced and to be very, very efficient is a 3 cost 3/5, a 4 cost 4/6, a 5 cost 5/7, a 6 cost 6/8, a 7 cost 7/9, and so on. So basically, the cost of the unit for is its attack, and the health of the health is the cost +2. That's basically where we're looking at for something to be like efficiently statted at base with like ideally effects on top of that. So this is just. So this is statted that well, but you get 2 bodies, and that's probably good enough. I think it's fine. Next up, we have got, it's going to load, Calculating Magna Guards. This is a 3/3/4. When played and when a friendly unit is defeated, this gains Sentinel. I like this. I think this is a very cool design. It's a little bit below curve. I wish this was a 3/5, and it just would be really strong then, I think, if it did. I think this is just going to be in certain decks when you really care about that Separatist and Droid synergy, you are going to want this. Outspoken Representative, a 0/3, gain Sentinel while you control another Republic unit, and when defeated, you create a Clone Trooper token. This is good. Sentinel that creates token. Yep, pretty strong. In terms of stats, you are getting more stat value, and you're getting Sentinel. So I think this is very, very good. Next, we have got Kashyyyk Defender. I think this card is bad, so I'm not going to waste time on it. Next, we got Captain Typho. This is a 3/4 with when played and on attack, give a unit Sentinel for the phase. I also think this card is probably not great. Like it's you're paying 1 extra for a 2/4 for the ability to gain Sentinel. Go just giving the card Sentinel. I don't know. Next up, we've got Obi-Wan's Aether Sprite. So this is a 5/4/6 Jedi Republic vehicle fighter. So this is Jedi traded ship. Matters. Not Force, but Jedi and Republic traded. When played on attack, you may deal 1 damage to this unit and 2 damage to another space unit. So I am extremely high on this card. I've seen a few content creators who aren't. I think this is very, very good because I'm paying 1 extra to gain. So I'm paying 1 extra, but in compensation for that, I'm going to space and I trade with Fire Spray. I think this is the biggest thing for me. This card just trades Fire Spray, and in fact, so it trades Fire Spray. You don't get to keep it around, but you trade Fire Spray, and that is huge. You get to snipe out any of these annoying little 2 HP units, and obviously with Obi-Wan you can just heal it up, so it can be this nice little engine you've got going on where you can then deal 3 damage basically to a space unit while you swing into the base. You deal 1 damage to this, you deal 2 damage to something else, you heal it, and you deal damage. It's very good. But yeah, I'm very, very high. I think this is like a solid 8 out of 10 card. Really, really strong. Next, we've got Knight of the Republic. This is a 6/4/7. When it's attacked, create a clone trooper token. I think this is way too slow to see any play draft. Hello there. This is a 3-cost. Choose a unit that enter play this phase. It gains -4/-4 for this phase. I think there is a lot of potential for this card, but it's going to be a meta-dependent card. So, for example, right, in a meta where I have to answer a card the turn it comes in, and that card is 4/4, has 4 HP or less. This is going to be a staple, right? Like I'm just going to go, oh, yep, cool, there's my answer, boom, done. In a meta where I don't care about that, this is going to be garbage. I think it's pretty much that simple. This hits leaders, which I think is a big, big deal for its viability. And that alone may just make it C-play, right? You imagine your opponent goes, okay, cool, flip Boba, you go, cool, hello there, it's a 0/3. And your opponent's like, uh-oh, I'm cooked, right? Like, the way this is basically leader removal, right? Like, I think I'm pretty high on this. I think it's like a 7 or 8 out of 10 card. Like, even if you're not targeting a particular unit, like I think this is really, really strong. Also, if we start getting like leaders that come in with lower stats but like have way more powerful effects, this is just values going up from there. Yeah, I'm very high on this card. I think it's very, very good. I'll be picking up my hyperspaces. All right, next we got Royal Guard Attaché. This is bad. Next, we have got Infantry of the 212th. This is also bad. Next, we have got Ki Adi Mundi, our first legendary. Oh, mama. 5/5/7. So, as I said, that's the good stat line. So anything on top of this is kind of gravy. Force Jedi Republic, excellent traits. Coordinate. When an opponent plays their second card each phase, you may draw 2 cards. And this is just 5 and a blue. Yeah, this seems like a pretty staple throw it in card if I've ever seen one. I mean, it's huge, right? Like it's a 5/7, very, very sticky, very threatening. With an upside that if I have a wide board, if my opponent starts like trying to do anything, I can just draw 2. Yeah, seems like a pretty good card to play. IMO, solid like 7, 8 out of 10, like very solid. Next up, we have got. It's gonna load. I have the high ground. So this is a 1-cost event. Choose a friendly unit. Each enemy unit gains a -4/0 while attacking that unit this phase. So obviously very synergistic with the Obi-Wan leader, right? You deploy it, and then I have the high ground, and suddenly he's not dying, right? Like outside of Rival's Fall. Now, how good is this? I think outside of Obi-Wan specifically, pretty bad. Like outside of leaders that are like blue leaders where you're in blue and you have Sentinel, probably not great. Or like some reason where your opponent really wants to attack something. In Obi-Wan, I think this is very strong. Leaders are not going to die immediately most of the time. They're going to take 1 or 2 actions to die. And so potentially, well, not a lot, half the time I'd say like it takes 1 or 2 actions. Half the time they just die or they survive, right? And times when they survive, obviously this is doing nothing. The times when they die, this is doing nothing. The remaining half of the time, when your opponent's going to burn a couple actions to deal with them, this does quite a lot. This could just say, actually, no, I get to keep my leader, and suddenly that's very, very impactful. I suspect this is very, very niche in its application, but where it's used, it's going to be really strong. Give it like a 5 out of 10 for that. Right, next we've got the Invasion of Christophsis, our next legendary. So we've got 2 blue legendaries already, both single blue, so it looks like, I imagine we won't get a double blue legendary this set. will probably get one blue red and one blue white and one blue black. So this has exploit 4. Choose an opponent, defeat each unit that player controls. So if you get the exploit off, this costs 7. Otherwise, it is 15. Obviously, you are only playing this card if you exploit it. And if you are able to exploit it, right, like this is nuts. And this is like synergizing with, so now like blue-green playing doing a turn when like, oh, I deploy my leader, I gain 2 battle droid tokens, and then I'm going to exploit 2 of those tokens away, plus some other stuff to board wipe you, is really, really strong. I think there is a lot of potential with this card. I mean, it's a one-sided board wipe that you are having to sack 4 of your things. So we are just going to see like how easy is it to just build these super comedically wide boards. And I think that's going to be the big thing. But yeah, like 6 out of 10 for now. Alright, next we've got Confederate Courier. So this is a 2/2/1. When defeated, create a battle droid token. Great card, does everything you'd want, right? It's a 2-cost 2/1. It trades with the other 2-cost space units that are very good at the moment, outside of A-Wing. It's the only card it doesn't trade with. You're getting 3/2 in stats, but you're getting it in 2 bodies, so this is excellent exploit fodder. Yeah, I think it's just great in a deck that cares about exploiting. Next, we've got Droid Commando. This is a 4/3, which gains ambush if you control another Separatist unit. I think this is fine. Might see play as a sort of like answer to a format, but not inherently particularly good. Alright, next we've got Magna Guard Wing Leader. This is a 3/3/4. Action, attack with a droid unit, then attack with another droid unit, and this is only used once per round. So this gives you the ability to cheat actions as long as you're doing it with droids. This itself is not a droid, so we'll need to see how relevant that is. My inclination is this probably isn't great, but it's cheating actions, so it's one of the things that you're always going to have to take a look at. Alright, next we've got General's Guardian. This is a 4/4/4. When it is attacked, create a battle droid token. So the idea is you play this, you use Grievous's effect, give it Sentinel, and then you just start spamming tokens. It's probably not great. I mean, the stat line's not great. Kraken. Okay, here's a great card. This is a 5/2/5. When played, create 2 battle droid tokens. On attack, give each friendly token unit +1/+1 for this phase. So this puts your opponent in a really, really sticky situation. They kind of have to choose what they're going to answer, right? And I just love this card. So you're getting 4/7 of stats for 5, which is good. Like, that's pretty good. You're basically losing out on one, on like 1 power. But on attack, if it survives, suddenly you're getting a lot more power out of that. I am very high on this card. I think it's very, very good in the decks that care about exploiting their units. Because obviously a 5 cost 2/5 like inherently is not great. But if it's 5 cost 2/5 that is basically exploit 3, you're basically getting 6 costs, right? So you're cheating out by 1 resource. So that's potentially very, very worth it. Yeah, I think this is good. All right, next up we got Kalani. This is a 6/5/7. So overpaying by 1, but what are we getting? On attack, you may choose another unit. If you have the initiative, you may choose up to 2 other units. Give the chosen unit +2/+2 for this phase. So this is, God, an ECL target if I've ever seen one. You ECL this in, it's a 5/7, you smack something real hard, and then you buff 2 things by +2/+2. So in that sense, you're getting 9/11 worth of power. Ooh, that's pretty big for 6. So yeah, in ECL decks, I'm looking at this. I think outside of that, I'm probably not looking at it. But yeah, in ECL decks, this is very, very strong. All right, next up we have got Separatist Super Tanks. This is our 9-cost 8/8 with exploit 3. Now this is a Separatist, so with Dooku you could make this exploit 4. So if you exploit 4, you play a 1-cost 8/8. That's pretty good. If you exploit 3, you play a 3-cost 8/8. Also pretty good. I think if you're playing this for like exploit 2, then you're happy, right? This is 5-cost 8/8, very, very strong. Yeah, I think this is going to see a pretty good amount of play just for sheer stat value and a way to convert those droid tokens into something absolutely massive. All right, next up we've got Consolidation of Power. This is one of my favorite cards. So this is a 6-cost event. So it's green-black. Choose any number of friendly units. You may play a unit from your hand if its cost is less than or equal to the combined power of the chosen units for free. Then defeat the chosen units. So firstly, this... so if you have a way to buff your tokens, this card becomes absolutely crazy, right? Like, if you've got, like, 3 or 4 tokens out, and you buff them all by 1/1, and suddenly, like, you sack the tokens in one other thing, and you just get to play a 10 cost for 6, nuts. How good is this card going to be, right? The fact you have to play it from hand is a big deal. If you could play it from the hand or discard, we'd be seriously cooking. I think it's really impossible to evaluate this card right now. I've got an eye on it. It's definitely a combo card. And we're just going to have to see how easy it is to enable strong combos with it. Because obviously at the moment I look at this and I go, well, I'll just play Pulse Return instead. But different decks, very much. Okay, next up we got Echo. So this is our second Echo. So now we're going to start seeing some of those same name synergies from set 2 coming into fruition. So this is a 2/2 with coordinate to be a 4/4. So a 2 cost 4/4 is fucking good. A 2 cost 2/2 is not. So yeah, you're playing this for synergy, and you probably do play this card. All right, next we've got Republic Tactical Officer. This is the Fleet Lieutenant for Republic, except slightly worse, but still very good. Next we've got Shark T. This is a 4 cost 3/4. So not great stat wise, which on attack creates a clone trooper token and buffs all friendly token units by +1/+0. So that's very, very strong. My inclination is this isn't amazing. I think it's going to be an absolute bomb in draft, but like probably not amazing. However, the upside, if this does end up like getting out of hand, right? If you have like a board of like 8 clones and suddenly like you buff them by +1/+0, that's nuts. I just think the stats are really, really bad, and so I doubt it's going to be that good. Next, we got Pelter Supply Frigate. This is a 5/3/6 with coordinate. When played, create a clone trooper token. So if you get that, this is basically 5/8 of stats. So you're getting a bonus stat and you're diversifying your bodies. In exchange, you need to have coordinate live. I think this is going to be really strong if coordinate is easy enough to pull off. If it's not going to be strong. All right, next up we got Captain Rex. 6 cost 4/4, create 2 clone trooper tokens, so he's a 6 cost 8/8 basically in stat value. That's pretty good. I think this card will end up seeing play. Next we got Mass Ameda. So this card is nuts in my opinion. I think this is a solid 8, 9, 10 out of 10 card. Stable 3 out of 3 in every single double green deck. So this is a 2 cost 0/4. When you play another unit, you may exhaust this unit. If you do, search top 4 cards of your deck for a unit, reveal it, and draw it. Insane, right? 0/4, and it's free, right? You don't have to waste an action. It's just you play a unit. It's Republic, it's official. You search top 4 for a unit, so it's basically never going to whiff. Your opponent has to waste removal or sink 4 damage into this. Just, yeah, absolutely crazy strong card. Really, really, really good. Next, we've got Manufactured Soldiers. So this is a 3 cost double green. Choose one. Create 2 clone trooper tokens or create 3 battle droid tokens. Very, very interested in this card. We'll need to see how good it is. The clone troopers are better, but the droids are more bodies. So, I mean, for 3, I think this is pretty strong. Like a 3 cost 4/4 is fine. A 3 cost 3/3 is not, but it's the amount of bodies and it's converting it into exploit 3, right? Like, so for example, this with the battle tank means that like you could play out the battle tank for on turn 4 or turn 5, right? With Dooku, you give it an extra exploit and you have 1 extra thing to sack. You could like give it exploit 4, so you're playing it like on turn 3, which is crazy, right? Like absolutely crazy playing an AD. So there's combos, right? We need to see how good it is. Okay, next we got Coruscant Guard. This is Coordinate Ambush. It's a 2 cost 3/2 though, so it might see play based on that. But otherwise, pretty meh. 501st Liberator. It's heal. 3 cost 3/3 when played to heal. I think that alone might make it see play, but I feel like we're very past the point of like a 3/3 being good enough. We'll see. Okay, Gore, next legendary. This is a 12 cost 7/7 Separatist creature. Exploit 3, Sentinel, Ambush, Overwhelm. So, if you play this for 6, it's a 6 cost 7/7 with Sentinel, Ambush, and Overwhelm. That's really good. If you can exploit this for 4 and you're playing it out for 4, oh mama, this card is strong. How good is this really going to be though? Like, it's quite a lot to sacrifice for a 7/7. Like, yeah, it's got Sentinel, and yeah, it's got Ambush, and yeah, it's got Overwhelm, but like, I mean, it does one-shot leaders, like most leaders, right? Like, this is just another maul you can add into your deck if you want. It's generic, and as long as you've got bodies, it's going to be really strong. I think this is just, for me, how easy are we making these droid tokens, right? Like, if we're shitting out like 4 a turn, I'm like, yeah, man, put this in my deck. If we're making like 1 every 2 turns, then I'm not high on it. So we'll see. I think now, oh yes, General's Blade. So this is an upgrade, 3 cost. Attached to a non-vehicle unit. If the attached unit is a Jedi, it gains on attack, and the next unit you play this phase costs 2 less. 3/3. It cheats costs. I'm going to have my eye on it. It's a +3/+3 weapon. I think this is strong. We'll need to see how good it ends up in practice, but my inclination is try this card out. Oh, the Clone Wars. This is a 2 cost event. Pay any number of resources, create that many Clone Trooper tokens, and each opponent creates that many Battle Droid tokens. I love this card. This is exactly what I want to see in a card, right? This is super, super strong. And the more you pay, the more value you're getting, right? Like, if you pay 12 for this, right? Like, you make 10 2/2s. Your opponent makes 10 1/1s. Okay, I'm winning this war, right? Like that's, I'm threatening basically like pretty much guaranteed lethal on board with that much, right? With the Shark T out, I'm definitely threatening lethal, right? So I think there's a lot of potential with this. I think this is a really cool tool for control decks to kind of like, this is going to be really strong in the control mirrors to just go, great, slam, huge board. Now what are you going to do? And especially when you're able to then like Christophsis, right? Just go, okay, cool, I've made a really, really big board and I'm going to Christophsis to wipe yours. I don't know, man. I think there's really strong potential here. All right, next up we have got OOM Series Officer. This is a 2-toss 2/1 with when defeated deal 2 damage to a base. Great aggro card. This will see play. Next we have got Confederate Tri-Fighter. It's 3-cost 3/3 with bases can't be healed. Good traits, but like again 3/3. B1 attack platform. It's a 5/2 for 3. I suspect this won't see play, but it's big. Asajj. Okay. So here's our exploit cards. All right. So there's a 4-cost 2/4 exploit 2 on attack. If you've attacked with another separatist unit this phase, this unit gains +3/+0 for the phase. For me, if we are making clone droids, the clone troopers, droid tokens, like completely for free, this card is nuts. As a 2-cost, if this was just a 2-cost, I'd be like, meh, it's pretty good. I'd play it. As a 4-cost, this is not great. So my inclination is this is going to be very, very strong because playing it for 2 is going to be really easy, and this is going to be very, very good for 2. And playing it for 3 is obviously crazy. Like trading 2 tokens for an Asajj is like very, very strong. So yeah, I think this is good. However, I think we're probably coming up to Darth Maul. Here we go. This is one of the best cards in the set for sure. 5-cost 5/6. It can attack 2 units instead of 1. You ECL this in, or you attack this with the Maul Leader and you overwhelm, and just all kinds of good. Force Sith rated. Chef's kiss. Beautiful card. 9 out of 10. Super strong. All right, next we've got Squadron of Vultures. So this is a 6-cost 5/4 with exploit 3. This card's crazy, right? Like you exploit 3 tokens and you make a 5/4 in space. Real strong. I'm a big fan of this card. I think it's really, really, really good. Next up, we have got Savage Oppress. So this is a 7/7/7. When played, if you control fewer units than an opponent, ready this unit. So this is kind of like generic Fire Spray, but you have to have strictly less units. And we're just going to need to see how often that happens. I think that's really what it's going to come down to. My inclination is this is good, though. Like, fundamentally, a Fire Spray is going to be strong. So let's see. Next up, we have got Batch Brothers. This is a 3-cost 2/1 that creates a clone trooper token. So it's a 4/3 for 3, but you get 2 bodies. I think that's pretty good. Probably will see play. Next, we've got Jesse. So this is a 3-cost 4/4 with raid 1, and when played, an opponent creates 2 battle droid tokens. So this is a 5/4 on attack for 3, which is crazy, but your opponent gets 2 1/1s. Is that worth it? We'll need to see, but there's definite potential here for sure. Okay, Anakin Skywalker. This is a 5-cost 6/6 with coordinate on attack. Draw a card. It's a 6/6. It's a 6/6 for 5, so I'm gonna pay attention, but it's hardly Poe Dameron. Next up, we've got Low Altitude Gunship. This is a 6-cost 6/5 with Overwhelm, and when played, choose an enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it for each friendly Republic unit. This seems crazy, right? Like, if we're playing out, like, 4 or 5, token units, like, easily, and then you just slam this down and you ping something for 6, holy crap. Like, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. I'm very, very high on this card. Very, very, very high. Next, we've got Vanguard Droid Bomber. This is a 2-cost 2/2 with a when played, if you control another separate unit, burn 2. I think this is going to be great for aggro, but outside of that, probably not amazing. Next, we have got, just going to load, Relentless Rocket Droid. This is a 4-cost 3/5. When you control another troop unit, it gains +2/+0. A 4-cost 5/5 is fine, but seems pretty draft, in my opinion. All right, Heavy. This is a 4-cost 4/4. Coordinate raid 2, so it's a 4-cost 6/4. With Coordinate Live. When defeated, deal 1 damage to each enemy ground unit. In the context of a format where we're probably going to have a shitload of droids running around. Good card. Really good card. I'm very, very high on this. I like that it's generic. I like that you can just throw it into any red deck. Yeah, really, really strong. Next, we got Aura Singh. I'm not going to waste too much time. This is not doing enough for a 7-cost. Grenade Strike. This is a 2-cost, deal 2 damage to a unit. You may deal 1 damage to another unit in the same arena. No. Soulless one, so going into yellow. This is a 1-cost 1/2 on attack. You may exhaust a friendly droid unit or General Grievous leader or unit. If you do, this gains +2/+0 for the attack. So this is a 1-cost 3/2 on attack in General Grievous. I think you play this in General Grievous, and you do not outside of General Grievous. Separatist Commander. This is a 2/3 that gains raid 2 while you control another Separatist unit for 2. Fine. On the better end of fine, but nothing crazy. Rush Clovis. 4-cost 3/5. Raid 2. On attack, if the defending player controls no ready resources, create a battle droid token. Good card! Really good card! Like, you just ECL this in, it's a 5/5. Nuke something for 4. And then just make a battle droid token if your opponent's tapped out, which is, like, super easy to do. And then he's just going to sit there menacingly, like, well, I'm just going to leave him up, and you have to deal with my 3/5. Or I'm just going to make a battle droid token for free. Damn, this card is really good. I mean, like, if you... This is a 4-cost 6/6, right? Like, if you ECL it in terms of stats. On like, what? Crazy. Yeah, I'm just very, 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 very high on this card. Next up, we've got Tactical Droid Commander. This is a 5-cost 4/4 with Exploit 2, so you can play this out for 1. When you can play another separate unit, you may exhaust a unit that costs the same as or less than the played unit. Interesting card. How good is this going to be? I don't know. Like, this is just a passive unit. It's not once per turn. So if you're just spamming stuff out, you might just be able to go, no, exhaust that, exhaust that, exhaust that, exhaust that, exhaust that, tidy up the board, and just play this really heavy lockdown style deck. It's got Exploit, so it's coming in for 3 or for 1. If this comes in for 3, I'm pretty happy, right? A 3-cost 4/4 that lets me exhaust. I'm pretty happy with that, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think this card's really strong. I'm pretty high on it. All right, next up we got Zero the Hut. 5-cost 2/8, Underworld and Hut. When played, for each opponent, you may exhaust a unit that player controls. Okay, that's pretty good. On attack, for each opponent, you may exhaust a resource that player controls. Oh, I am unbelievably high on this card. I think this is really strong. It's a 2/8. It's fat. Like, it's not going anywhere. You suit this up with a blaster, and it's a 4/8. And hey, man, that's scary. For 5, you are potentially exhausting a resource every single turn. This is a great card into control and like into mid range, because like aggro, this is not going to be great. But into control and mid range, you sit there and you go, okay, I've got this fat beefy body that you need to deal with, and every turn you don't deal with it, I'm making you play from behind. Like, talk about how to win a tempo war. This is sensational card. I'm very, very, very much a fan. I think this is really, really strong. All right, next up we've got Wartime Profiteering. I think this is pretty bad. I don't think you want to play this. Unnatural Life. Play a unit that was defeated this phase from your discard pile. It costs 2 less and display ready. At the start of the regroup phase, defeat it. So this is kind of like Sneak Attack, but like you play it from drop instead. And I think Sneak Attack is a little better because it reduces the cost more, but you have to play it from hand. But this is a very, very interesting card. How good is this? No clue. Absolutely no clue. I do think this will enable really funny lethals where you just get a kill, right? Like your you know, oh, I swing with Avenger. Oh, you killed my Avenger? Cool. Unnatural Life, bring back Avenger. Right? That sort of situation. So you got to have your eye out. I think this is going to be a really scary card. But I don't know how meta it's going to be. But I don't know, man. I think this is pretty good. R2-D2. This is a strong card. 2-cost 2/4. Could have stopped there. Republic Droid. When played, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, search the top 3 cards of your deck for a card and draw it. Okay, staple 3 of in every single hero yellow deck. For now, till the end of time. Wow. Sabine Wren, this is a 4-cost 4/4. While the unit is exhausted, she can't be attacked. And on attack, you may discard a card from your deck. If it doesn't share an aspect with your base, deal 2 damage to a ground unit. So this is a Hera card. Next up, we got Plo Koon. This is a 5-cost 3/6. It has Ambush and Coordinate Raid 3. So if you get the Coordinate off, this is a 6/6 Ambush for 5. That's busted. If you don't, it's still pretty good. I suspect this will be seeing a good amount of play. All right, next we got Creative Thinking. I love this scene. So this is basically just bad Leia, right? Like you make a Clone Trooper token, you exhaust a non-unique unit, whereas Leia is just, you also have the upside of like untapping. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm always choosing Leia over this, but cute card. Then we got On Top of Things. This is a 2-cost upgrade. When played, attached unit can't be attacked this phase unless it has Sentinel. It's a trick. Potentially. I doubt it's going to be that good, but there will be some really degenerate combos with it that will be very funny. All right, next we got Prisoner of War. This is a 4-cost friendly unit, captures an enemy non-leader, non-vehicle unit. If the enemy unit costs less than the friendly unit, you also make 2 droids. So I think this is an interesting card. I don't know how strong it's going to be. Because capture is, again, one of those mechanics which is just like, it's so, like, the fact this can capture anything is, like, good. But obviously your opponent is going to get it back eventually, so it's like, I'm going to go middle of the road with this one, and we'll see how it shakes out. I think that might be the last card we've seen. Oh, no, we got some. We still got some. Okay, Battle Droid Escort. This is a 3-cost 1/1. When played and when defeated, make a droid. Staple. Staple alert. Any staplers? This is pretty damn good. Then we got Hailfire Tank. There's an 8-cost 7/6 with Exploit 2, so a 4-cost 7/6 is pretty good. Probably actually not going to see play just because you're going to have so many strong units, but it's cool to set the baseline. The Invisible Hand. Oh, Battlesphere. 8-cost 4/7, Separatist Vehicle, Capital Ship. When played, make 4 droids. On attack, exhaust any number of friendly Separatist units. Deal 1 damage to the defending player's base for each unit exhausted this way. Oh my god. Firstly, right, for 8, in terms of stat value, you're getting an 8/11. Very good, very nice. Dooku is going to be exploiting this bad boy in any day of the week on turn 5. This is crazy. Yeah, I'll trade 1 droid for 3 more. That's pretty good. Man, like, just so good. And then, like, every turn it's just going to sit there and you can just go, yeah, I'll tap all my droids to cheat the action of just swinging with all of them, and then I'll just sack them off to exploit. Huh? Oh, man, this so good. So good. I will want hyperspaces immediately. Bad. Oh, that's fine. Definitely bad. Oh, interesting. 7-cost 7/6. When played, you may return a Republic unit from your discard pile to your hand, and on attack, the next 3 Republic cards you play this phase cost 1 less. So again, this is going to be part of that go wide strat, right? Like, I slam Tranquility, and on the next turn I go, okay, swing, board spam, right? I'm cheating 3 resources. And you got to evaluate the card, like, okay, well, if this reduces costs by 3, that's really, really strong. If it doesn't, meh. But I think by the stage in the game you play at Tranquility, like, you're probably not resourcing anymore, so you will have 3 cards to just go blah. So you just need to have, like, you know, 10 costs worth of cards, and you just get to play them out. Pretty good. I am pretty high on this card. And there we go. Whew! What a video. So that is the first big fat wave of card reveals. I will do these weekly from now on, so I'm not going to fall so far behind. FFG, if you're watching, perchance a card reveal? We'll see. Damn. Are you guys excited about the set? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry for the long break. I will be back with the consistent uploads soon. I've got a load of video ideas. We're approaching PQ season, planetary qualifier season, so load of content surrounding that. We've seen some interesting meta shifts, some pretty big results in recent days. Hard controls back, Ray Yellow, cool, Boba Green finally on people's radar. Took them long enough. Yeah, super excited for PQ season. Hope to see you all there. Like, subscribe, all that usual stuff. Check out my Patreon if you want to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.